Commerce, Rethinking e-commerce to stay ahead in the IoT era. I'm Alexandra Barcelona, Director of Marketing at dotCMS, and I'll be today's moderator. Before we get started, a couple of housekeeping items. Please know that today's webinar is being recorded and will be sent out to everyone who registered after the webinar. We'll also have a Q&A session at the end, so please submit your comments and questions in the panel on your screen. Now to review today's agenda, I'll start with the introductions. We'll review digital ambition and e-commerce, the challenges of staying ahead in today's market, taking the headless and API-first approach with your CMS, and we'll get a demo of dotCMS and CommerceTools together. We'll finish that off with a fireside chat with our expert panel. Speaking of our expert panel, speakers, we have Stefan Schinkel from dotCMS, Harvey Turner from DEP, Daniel Patterson from DEP, and Kurt Brown from Unboxed. With that, I'll pass it over to you, Stefan.
Thanks, Alex, and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today about headless commerce in the era of IoT. Most of you are probably executing on your digital agenda and pursuing your digital ambition, whether this is optimizing or transforming your business. And that's no different in the B2B and B2C commerce space, right? Obviously, in your world, there are a couple of drivers for this transformation, like the giant Amazon, who really has scaled and optimized the online commerce play, and it's really hard to compete on price or delivery times, right? Up to 2-hour delivery times on the same day, or pick up near any of the pickup points around you. It's really hard to compete. And Walmart has joined this play as well with huge investments in technology. Really want to own a piece of that Amazon pie with services like in-fridge delivery. And this looks obviously really interesting from a convenience perspective, but the question that I have is this really the customer experience that everybody wants? I mean, are we really building an emotional bond with Walmart and Amazon? I mean, have you ever tried to reach out to a customer service rep and talk to a real person with Amazon? I failed, but that might have been me. Now, if we take it one step back, right, already in 2017, Mark Benioff already stated that speed is really the new currency. And by that, he really means the ability to respond to changes, disruptions in your market. And the speed or agility or velocity, for that matter, is really relevant when you want to execute on new business models, launch new products and services, entering new markets, and go head-to-head with the competition. Now, a year prior to that, a research by the World Economic Forum and Accenture already stated that, amongst others, there's 2 areas where you can differentiate in the digital world, and one being focus on experiences rather than the products and the services itself, and then secondly, hyper-personalization, right? So, and that really brings us back to where you can go head-to-head with Amazon and Walmart, really focusing on those experiences, those highly personalized commerce experiences, and not so much on price and delivery times. And the technology is already here to enable that, right? And along with the rise of Internet of Things, this is a huge opportunities for brands to increase the number of relevant touch points in people's daily life, whether that's personal life or in office, right? And really allows for new revenue streams, hyper-personalized commerce experiences, again, for both B2C as well as B2B. Now, Gartner, in one of their reports already in 2017, described 3 approaches for digital commerce. And the one that we're discussing here is the API-led approach, and they coin it as commerce that comes to you, right? Where every relevant business function or capability is based on an API-first product and orchestrate it to the appropriate touch points in the customer journey of your audience. Now, we're going to talk a lot more about this in depth, but I want to hand over to Harvey right now and really see what the agency perspective is from depth. Harvey, can you shed some light on that, please?
That's great. Thanks, Stefan. So I'm going to cover off two areas before handing over to Danny to do the more technical part of the discussion today. Firstly, I'm going to do a little introduction to depth. I'm going to keep it brief, but just for those of you who aren't familiar with us. And then I'm going to talk about some of the kind of key topics and areas and challenges that our clients face in trying to sort of stay ahead in the e-commerce world. And that should lead us nicely into some discussions around why we believe a headless and sort of abstracted approach from a technology standpoint is the right way to address some of those challenges that we see our clients face day to day. So firstly, let me briefly introduce depth. We are a leading global digital agency. We are one agency that unites creativity, technology, and data. And we have offices both in Europe and in America to give ourselves a strong sort of global presence. And we are around 1,350 plus people globally. With technology at the heart of our business, we are experts in delivering, designing and delivering digital experience platforms for our clients, whether they be content or commerce-led. But more broadly, depth is organized into 8 specialized teams. We work together internationally to deliver solutions and services across all of the areas that you can see here. But obviously today is more about commerce, so let's move quickly on to discussing that. So a little bit on our approach to delivering successful e-commerce projects for our clients. Firstly, from a strategic standpoint, you've got to develop a strategy that's informed by real customer insights. You need to understand where, when, and why to sell to your customers. From a customer experience standpoint, we work really closely with our clients, and one of the key things that we always try and emphasize is that really good, strong customer satisfaction is going to be the culmination of experiences that customers have with you as a brand throughout their journey. And we try and develop experiences that find a really good, strong balance between acquiring and retaining customers, which I'll come on to speak a little bit more about on one of the preceding slides. This next point doesn't really require any sort of reinforcing. Customers absolutely now expect to be able to shop how they want and when they want in the channels that they want. So delivering an integrated experience in an omni-channel environment has absolutely become the norm. So I'll skip the technology point because we're going to talk a lot more about that in the session today. So just to briefly cover off the last 2 points. First, from a content management standpoint, so content management is much more than just uploading assets and managing content. You need to be able to have a platform in place that can deliver sort of rich and engaging experience across different channels in an easy and effective way. You need to be able to develop content-led experiences that inspire and engage your customers to drive conversion. And then finally, just on the performance marketing piece, obviously we work closely with our clients using our sort of performance management systems to collect sort of actionable and quantitative and qualitative data to help you drive conversion, to help optimize sort of targeting as part of your digital marketing mix. So we're obviously always super happy to deliver successes for our clients, and just 3 sort of simple examples here of successes that might be important to you. So firstly, sort of pace of delivery. So with the Birkenstock shop, we went live after only 3 months of development and implementation in the first territory, and this is now an award-winning, sort of multi-award-winning site that's live in 21 countries and in 17 different languages. So next is Omron and attracting customers. So with an Omron site that we went live with recently, within the first month we were averaging sort of 10 positions higher in sort of search. We were 20% up on increased traffic from Google, and we'd improved the sort of bounce rate by 20%. And then finally, in terms of growing clients, just one example here. So the Emil shop and website was a sort of tablet first experience, sort of mobile optimized, and it delivered double-digit growth in the first 6 months post-launch compared to performance in the previous year. Okay, so let's talk next about some of the challenges you guys are likely facing and will recognize in the e-commerce space. So first up is Amazon, and its dominance really of the e-commerce space. I mean, this figure here, 88% of US customers aged between 18 and 34 prefer to shop at Amazon and other online retailers. So Amazon really sets the benchmark in terms of customer expectations, and that's something that all other online retailers need to be mindful of. Next, really, is to consider the increasing sort of channel mix that you need to engage your consumers on. So, many studies clearly show that brands with very sort of strong and solid omni-channel customer engagement strategies will have much higher retention rates and also drive higher conversion. But one of the other things you guys need to consider in terms of the ability to roll out channels to different channels quickly is the emergence of new channels. So, here is just some sort of stats and a quote around voice search, which obviously many retailers are becoming increasingly interested in. So I guess the final challenge to highlight really is that you need to have platforms in place and strategies in place to enable you to deliver sort of really solid personalized experiences for your consumers. Obviously, we work with clients to ensure that they are both sort of capturing and utilizing data insights to enable them to do that. And this is particularly prevalent with the sort of upsurgence of, I guess, sort of more niche and challenger brands, sort of direct-to-consumer challenger brands that are able to deliver much more sort of tailored and personalized experiences. And this is all very much technology-driven. So moving on from some of the sort of broader challenges, let's focus really on the demands that your customers place on you day to day. So Stefan highlighted earlier sort of two clear examples that are driven by the consumer's need for ease and simplicity. So there's sort of 2-hour delivery slots and in-fridge delivery. But broadly speaking, consumers we are trying to do more and more with our time. And when we're time poor, we want easy, simple, and convenient shopping experiences. Of course, we also want to be inspired. When we do have time, and when we don't know what we're looking for, we want brands to engage with us. We want them to inspire us with content, tools, and experiences. And we want this to be delivered in sort of any channel at any time and whenever we want to engage. Finally, consumers want to be rewarded. You need to work hard as a brand to drive loyalty. The customers are very digital savvy now. They sort of demand value from their regular purchases, but increasingly they're looking for sort of tailored and personalized and more rewarding experiences as well. Emotional loyalty here is key. So, tiered and premium loyalty programs are becoming far more appealing, and sort of brands with next generation loyalty programs stand out. Product subscription has been commonplace for some time, but increasingly brands are looking to offer personalized subscription models as well. So with these challenges that I've highlighted, and with the sort of ever increasing demands of customers today, what does this mean for you as a brand, as a business? What are our clients looking for to sort of drive success within this environment? So for us and our experiences with clients, I think this boils down to 4 sort of very simple points really. So firstly, we need strategies to be delivered on platforms and technologies that enable and facilitate really kind of unified and integrated digital experiences for brands' customers. We need to be flexible and adaptable to customers' needs and change. And also, we need, within that, there's an inherent need for sort of pace, so the ability to roll out to new channels and optimize against ever increasingly demanded channels from customers quickly. We also need to build these experiences on platforms that have sort of good data capture as their foundation. We have to be able to deliver, and we do deliver insights to our clients, real insights about their customer behavior that enables optimization of sort of experiences and conversion. And then finally, cost effectiveness. I think, the days of monolithic platforms that take months and months to roll out and have, huge price tags and periodic and often expensive upgrades as part of their solutions. It's not really what customers are looking for now. They need to be able to move quickly and they need to be able to manage their costs. So my final slide before I hand it to Danny, we've highlighted some of the challenges you face, and briefly touched on the ever increasing demands of customers. And in this environment, it's rapidly changing. It's absolutely key to make the right technology decision to ensure you deliver success and to ensure you can stay ahead. These 5 simple principles here we tend to apply when choosing technology, and these very much are applicable to the solution that we're talking about today. Ensuring we have abstracted solutions, proven capabilities, solutions that can scale both in terms of load, but also in terms of scaling across different channels simply, the ability to roll out into new markets quickly, and then finally solutions and platforms that enable delivery of automated delivery of deployments, speedy deployments to reduce sort of manual effort and human error. I think all of these things are very much prevalent in today's solution. So now I'm going to hand over to Danny, and he's going to talk a little bit about what it takes to build a best-in-class digital experience platform, and also talk to you a little bit more and sort of demonstrate the dotCMS CommerceTools solution that we're talking about today.
Okay, so I'm going to go quickly through a few slides and talk a little bit about the approach at a high level and how you can use true headless commerce and content technologies and the benefits of doing so. Then I'll get into a demo of the solution and show you some of the highlights of the integrations between dotCMS and CommerceTools. I want to talk firstly about why headless is becoming so popular. With our clients, we're starting to see a clear shift from large all-encompassing experience platforms. These platforms can take a hold on a business and keep customers at kind of the mercy of how they work and how they evolve to support any one business in any one pillar. These things can lead to high costs and often not being able to adapt fast enough to customers' needs and trends within a business. This is where headless and hybrid platforms are starting to get much stronger. Headless solutions can be far more cost effective. They supply greater flexibility to scale your business to meet capacity and channel coverage. And headless starts to put control of business data in the hands of the customer. Business gains can also be achieved if abstraction is used fully and in the correct way and best practices. So let's talk a little about the solution we're going to demo and how it's approached. This is very high level, but we hope to do a more technical webinar on the solution later in the year to go a little more in depth on how things work and what features are available. Before we built anything, we wanted to make sure there were clear lines of responsibility that leverage the headless capabilities of both dotCMS and CommerceTools in the right way. So ensuring there was no bleed, cross-pollination, or duplication of data in either system was very important. We defined the responsibilities in following ways. So dotCMS was the provider for layout, content, obviously, inline editing, and even though dotCMS isn't a DAM, it does have a very mature API for handling images and media assets in a responsive design. So that's that's an excellent feature. CommerceTools is obviously acting as a provider for anything to do with commerce data, products, category data, and obviously product search. Between each system, key identifiers were cataloged between each data entity, and they were used to maintain relationships between elements, which also kept integrations lightweight and performant. So looking at the flow of the application, we just want to go through high level how it works and how abstraction and use of the providers from dotCMS and CommerceTools were put together to enhance and enrich data for the whole customer experience. So to begin with, with any DXP platform, a context of a user is the basis for how you can start to leverage and surface content based on the scenario or what they're doing. So at its most basic, context could be an IP address, information from the browser, on the device, or whatever, country, language, that kind of stuff. And with those attributes, you can really start to target and drive content and experiences. So we always start with the context. The context is used, and depending on the scenario, whether it's requesting a page or a dynamic feature, is passed into the Experience API. The Experience API is the core piece of abstraction between the providers and the channel. So those are the integration points. The data that's returned and received is driven all the way through that. We have interception or route interceptors is what we call them. And these are business logic that can handle situations between pages, layouts, and can drive dynamic data in one scenario, static data in another, depending on how your business needs to run and the application involved. The interception and flow of that interacts with providers. It could be commerce, it could be dotCMS, it could be a combination. It doesn't really matter. The point is that the business rules dictate how that is, how that's leveraged. The responses are then passed into what we call an enrichment layer. The enrichment really starts to pull together the pieces of data and interact with the providers again to create data contracts or entities on the way out that support the current scenario or what you're trying to do. So this could be targeting, this could be personalization in some way, or simply looking for some dynamic content, right? We've got the framework that kind of sits between our providers and our experience layer that just provides the models and contracts that the solution adheres to. This is providing RESTful APIs, right, which are obviously the key to Headless. So we're just extending that Headless capability, but never really giving access directly to either provider, right? And off the back of this, the ultimate goal here is to provide multi-channel applications with those data and allow that data to be rendered in different ways, but shared and reused from source. So very important design. And again, we hope to get into this in more depth in a later webinar, but as a top level, that's the kind of flow we aim for. Okay, last slide before we get into the demo. Just want to talk a little bit about the benefits of some of the development aspects of this approach and the true headless technologies in dotCMS and CommerceTools. So abstraction is something we've talked about quite a bit in different parts of the webinar, but the idea is to separate implementation details, specific details of either technology, the integrations and differences between the technologies, the data they hold. That should be very seamless to your channels and your consumers. The presentation logic and ultimately what we're trying to provide here is maximizing the development output velocity of your teams, okay? So efficiencies, huge efficiencies in your development life cycles, just due to beyond the framework and the APIs, the reference implementation that's being provided with this solution. We're really only building business logic specific things for either your channel or your particular business, right? So we're looking at data enrichment or route interception or whatever it might be. So you're only building very small pieces on top of a framework that handles everything else. Scaling, so again, very important to be able to scale based on the capacity needs, or again, the channels that you want to start to distribute this data to, and the separation within inside your business or organization. So being able to delegate implementations out to different teams depending on what they're doing, being able to reuse provider implementations through the framework and business logic, enrichers or interceptors, whatever it might be. But again, enhancing that that development life cycle for your teams. So let's get into the demo a little bit and go through how this all looks. So the demo is only going to be very short, but it's going to highlight some of the key features of the integration and the solution that's encompassing it all. And hopefully you're going to see some of the potential, of how e-commerce and content can really be used together in this headless scenario with these two tools, and provide some pretty awesome stuff. So we're going to have a look at search integration with CommerceTools. We're going to have a look at some dynamic product pages, dynamic product elements throughout the site, and how they work. I'm going to look into dotCMS, the integration between CommerceTools and dotCMS, which is a little bit more direct, but ultimately show you some basic inline editing capabilities of updating category pages or product pages or homepage or whatever it might be. So that's what we're going to see. So let's move on to the demo. Okay, this is our shop application. It's still in its early stages. There are a few kinks to be worked out, some things with edit mode, etc., that aren't quite there yet, but all this is coming. So what we're going to do is just demonstrate those integrations we talked about with dotCMS and CommerceTools, and start to show you some of the potential for dynamic data, purely dynamic and automated pages, using dotCMS as just a layout provider, you know, some metadata to maybe drive design, and then some mixtures of static content with dynamic commerce content from CommerceTools. So we're going to start just on the home page with some of the more static stuff and show you the integrations into edit mode and into CommerceTools and dotCMS. So let's look at our home page. We have some basic stuff in here, static components like a very large hero, you know, highlighting a new collection. This could be something that in the future, this solution that could be targeted based on a context of where you're coming from as you start to learn about new users. We have just some basic stuff about, you know, the organization, and then we have, you know, this new in products. So this is where we have a mixture of a statically controlled piece of content mixed with the ability to read in data dynamically from CommerceTools. So as an editor, I want to say I've got another new product I want to add to this list. So let's go in and let's create a product based off of information in CommerceTools using dotCMS and start and add that product into this component. You can see how those integrations kind of come together. If we go into dotCMS, we can see the list of products we've already got in place, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a new one using the integration with CommerceTools. Now, one of the things I mentioned earlier is that due to the headless nature of both of these platforms, integrations are brought together by relating IDs between entities. Okay, so the unique identifiers of products into dotCMS, but then being able to pull that information in together dynamically to give us the best result. This also ensures that the integrations are lightweight and hyper performant. So let's have a look at how that looks. So I'm going to add a brand new product. Okay, and you can see there isn't a lot in this content type for a product. Okay, but let's just do a full search. And you can see here that we have a search bar where we can search for any tag name or search criteria within CommerceTools and its information. So whether attribute data or titles or whatever, this is going to get more enhanced with features. But as for now, we're going to create a product based on let's take these casual sandals right here. Okay, so we're going to build this out. I'm going to use the title just from the shoes for now, and you can see here my product identifier is being highlighted. So this is going to be the key between the integrations of the web application and the providers from dotCMS and CommerceTools. So I'm going to save and publish this out. Okay, and we now have our casual sandals in our product list. So let's go over to the home page component in edit mode and add this as a new product. So this is our home page within the inline editor of dotCMS. Our application is actually a .NET Core web app, and you can see how the edit mode anywhere feature within dotCMS allows you to interact with their APIs and your applications to drive the edit mode features from your own channel apps, which is truly excellent. So I'm going to switch this page into edit mode, and we're going to go scroll down to our new products, and we're going to add the product we created earlier. So here is our component. You can see that we can do all the same edit features as any other standard implementation. And down here, we can see our current related products. We're using the relationship field type to do this. And we're going to relate. We're going to add our casual sandals here. Relate, save and publish. And we will see our homepage update with the new content. There we go. And if I save and publish this page, we can also see the result of that on our homepage. So if I just refresh this, and there we go. There's our new product. Okay, so you can see there the ability to integrate through the CommerceTools Headless API to build that integration within dotCMS. And then the slick nature of using the layouts and design features of dotCMS's APIs and content APIs to drive your page both from static and a dynamic way. So there's just one of the ways you can do this. But let's have a look at some of the more dynamic elements of the integration. So let's look at a product search. So let's say I'm a new customer to the site, but I know what I'm looking for. I'm going to perform a search for a particular brand name or product that I want to find. And this is going to drive me to the product search results page. So this is a fully dynamic component based purely off of the information supplied by CommerceTools. But again, the layout, the design aspects of this are supplied by dotCMS. Here you can see our search results, and if I want to view either one of these tools, these products in a detail page, I can click through to these and I can view my detail page. Now, albeit this is a very basic looking page, you can see the images, pricing, stock availability, the categories that it applies to, and cart information, etc., all supplied by CommerceTools. But some of the layouts, the labels for the cart button, etc., all supplied by dotCMS. So these two pages, the search results page and the detail page, are both examples of very dynamic and fully dynamic capabilities. And what I'm going to do is show you how those two types of page work very differently to the more static elements within the site. So let's look at the search page to begin with, and how this is kind of put together. So if I switch this back to edit mode, the core piece of this page is obviously the search results. So we have the header, which is statically controlled and editable through the standard means. It's a standard component within the content repository. But we have, interestingly, the search results component itself. So rather than have lots of different pieces all put together on a page and all separately defined, we have a component that responds to information from a query. So again, you've got those APIs working together within your apps to form the final result. So the query result within the application is driven by pulling information from CommerceTools based on the search query, but the component being rendered on the page to even react to that search query is responsibility of dotCMS. Now, if you look at this component in dotCMS in edit mode, you will see there is 0 content edit fields on here at all. That might seem a little bit strange, but all we're doing here is saying dotCMS provide me a way to render this piece of functionality. We don't need content. I mean, things like labels for like browse categories, product filters, those things go without saying. They will come from dotCMS because we need to translate those things. But the actual content we've got here, we always have the context I talked before about a language and a country. So both APIs from both platforms support the ability to supply translate content. But it's those lines of responsibilities again. So dotCMS is providing the layout, the ability to render this component on the page, and CommerceTools is responsible for providing the data based on the queries that are passed to it. Now, if we look at the second part of that journey, it was the click from the search results page into the detail page. So here is our detail page. We showed this before, but the key thing to note here is the identifier in the URL for this product. Now, if we look in CommerceTools and we find our product, we can see that the identifier for this product is the same. Okay, so we talked a little bit earlier about binding information on these IDs. Now, this looks like it routes to an actual page within dotCMS, like in the standard fashion. But if we go to dotCMS, we can see that we don't have a physical page for that product. What we do have is a default detail page that can respond through interception of the type of product we're looking for or the scenario we're in, and can display a product detail regardless of having a page in app. So this means that editors can bring stuff to life very quickly simply by publishing content out of CommerceTools, and the application, the solution from dotCMS can simply provide a method to load that information dynamically without needing to do lots of editorial tasks. Now, in some cases, we may want to create a more featured product. So we want to have a nice hero, we want to have some related products or whatever it might be. And we want to be able to do that. We don't want the automation to take over. So we can achieve this by creating actual content pages for each of our products. Okay, and let's have a look at one of these now. So here's a more featured product detail page, and if we look at it, we can see dotCMS static content in the header. We can see the product details coming through from CommerceTools. We can also see related products within our page for this particular product, and we can see related blog articles. So you can see the potential here for being able to load content like blog posts, for example, based on, again, targeting or tags for this particular product. So for example, we could say this product is tagged with running or whatever it might be, and again have a global taxonomy managed within the CMS that you can then relate blog articles or videos or whatever it might be between the products and the content, and start to surface that and get people driven, getting content driven to them rather than having to go searching for it. Now, if we look at this detail page in dotCMS, things are a little bit different. In the editorial view of this page, we can see more content being displayed to really feature the product a little bit more, enhance the way it's displayed to the user, and potentially provide even more personalized information based on the experience. We can see the header I mentioned before, the dynamic content, and again, it's key to note that this is completely driven by CommerceTools. If we look at this in editorial view, you can see again we're just having a plain component with a title and a placeholder for like a default component, maybe in editorial views, but ultimately this component is driven from the detail page identifier that's passed through in the URL. So again, the dynamic pieces there coming together. And then we have our related products. So albeit this could be done in a multitude of different ways, this one works more statically like it does on the home page. So if I wanted to say, I need to relate a new product to our list, I can go down to our related list. I can open up our list of products and I can relate a new shoe to this. Let's save and publish this content. And again, you'll see the detail page physically refresh and update with the latest content. Okay, so again, you can see that mixture of having fast and efficient processes for editorial teams to create just detail pages that don't need a lot of information on them. It's just about showing what comes from CommerceTools, and then the ability to highlight products with more featured content from dotCMS and really combine that content commerce experience together. So the final thing I wanted to show you guys here in the demo was some more CommerceTools driven interactions that influence the content in a dynamic nature within the channel. So I'm going to do this by taking a look at the product categories page within the shop website. So here we have 4 just random categories, some default content and images. But ultimately we can see that dotCMS, again, providing the layout, CommerceTools providing all the content that you see on the page. Now, if we go and view the products of any one of these categories, we can see, again, the more dynamic capabilities of the two systems working together. So here we have a completely dynamic populated list of products based on the category we selected. Identifiers being used to show and link products together. Products and content together, okay? But I want to show you editing this particular category with inside CommerceTools and then instantly be able to have that affected on the website. So we're looking at the Pro Runners categories. If we switch to CommerceTools here, we can see Pro Runners and we can have a look at the products here and we can see the ones we've currently got related. Okay, so let's add a new product to this list. Let's take any one of these guys. Which one don't we have already? Okay, so let's take the run shoes. Okay, let's edit this guy. Let's add a category for Pro Runners. Save this. And then just with dotCMS, we have a publish capability in CommerceTools. We want to publish out our changes to our product. And we've related this product to our Pro Runners category. So let's go back to our application and we should see the result of that instantaneously. And here we go. A quick refresh of the page and we can now see our new product being shown in our website. So there's a few of the features and integration capabilities between the two systems within any one web channel, and the experience solution that we've got here in place, pulling all that together, is able to supply this experience not only to the web channel, but maybe mobile or kiosks, or there's a multitude of possibilities for it. But hopefully you can see the potential there and can see how we approach those capabilities and integrations and pull them.
Thanks, Danny, for this great overview. And obviously, there's a lot more that we can show, but we only had limited time here, and really want to give you a taste of how it could look like. And obviously, we're more than happy to take individual requests to dive a little bit deeper. Now, it is our belief that a commerce experience foundation is not only enabling your straightforward online and app-driven commerce, but also caters for conversational commerce, right? Where you have bots also supporting your commerce, as well embedded IoT-based commerce, right? So, and again, we're really at the beginning of all the possibilities that Internet of Things and 5G will offer us going forward. So it's a really exciting time to be in this space. And yeah, we believe that addressing the challenges that you have while competing against the big guys like Amazon and Walmart, that first of all to have that speed or agility or time to value. It's crucial to have a no-code first CMS, right, where your marketing team is self-sufficient, not reliant on technology, and that the underlying content and commerce foundation is API first, right? So that also gives you a lot of agility and flexibility. And then to cater for hyper-personalized commerce experiences, you should have an AI-driven search and browse experience, as well AI-driven personalization. And on top of that, AI-driven merchandising. And that's why we're announcing today, and we're really excited about this. We just signed a partnership with Unboxed, and we have a guest here today as well who's going to talk a little bit more in a minute about Unboxed, but it's basically all the building blocks we believe that you need to have that commerce experience solution, right? Consisting of dotCMS, CommerceTools, and as I mentioned, Unboxed for commerce search, browse, product recommendation, as well as a PIM, right? So if we project that onto the architecture that Gartner showed, the API first solution or approach, then you see where the different vendors come into play, right? So again, we're really excited to announce this solution with our partner Depth, Unboxed, and CommerceTools. And as I said, we're more than happy to take individual demo requests as well, maybe some proof of concepts. So this is what I wanted to share with you. Let's open up the fireside chat and take questions from the audience. All right, guys. Yeah, thanks, Harvey, and thanks, Danny, for the presentations and the demo. And welcome, Kurt Brown, and to our panel session. And I really would like to start with you. Could you tell us a little bit more about Unboxed and the value that you guys bring to the table in this solution?
Absolutely. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your webinar here. We're excited with the partnership, but we think it's a real good synergy between the two companies. And just a high-level pitch of what Unbox does. We are a modern product discovery platform. The cornerstone of that is AI-driven e-commerce search platform. But as you saw in the chart, we have multiple products as well, either as a full platform or a la carte. But the cornerstone really is that site search, that AI-driven site search. And the challenge we see in the space today is a lot of the modern search engines all kind of sound the same. They all say they have AI. They all say they're machine language driven. And I think what separates us is that we truly do use an artificial intelligence platform that separates us from the competitors because we use a lot of data. And then the data is the most important part to a machine learning system. In order to really have those algorithms learn, you have to have data. And we do. We have an awful lot of data that we've collected over about 7 years now, scanning about 150,000 websites. We continue to do it every day, and we're building out a global warehouse of data that continues to feed it. So when we think about what separates us from the competitors and what makes us different is the amount of data that we collect, our truly next generation artificial intelligence that gives the consumer an advantage in finding products that are looking for really relevant products. That is, I would say, the cornerstone of our AI is solving that relevance problem.
Fantastic. No, that makes an awful lot of sense. And you've been talking about the competition a little bit. Who would you consider your competition in this space, Kurt?
That's a great question. We break the competition into two kind of buckets. We have the traditional search engines that really are rules-based, kind of legacy solutions. We consider Endeca one of those. We would even put, the open source solutions like Solar and Elasticsearch in there. Reason being is they are traditionally manual rule-based search engines. Then you have more modern search engines that do use artificial intelligence. They have some machine learning capabilities, your Bloomreaches and your GroupBys, companies like this. They all kind of have this methodology of one size fits all. We've got this AI, we got these algorithms. Doesn't matter if you're an automotive or if you're an apparel or if you're a big box company, you're going to get the algorithms that kind of basically we give to everybody, and it's a one size fits all. I think what separates Unbox from competitors like that, one is we do have the algorithms are tuned for vertical specification. So if we think about automotive, we've tuned our algorithms specifically to manage Fitbit, which is an automotive industry standard for finding the right model of car, the right year, and the right part that fit it. Our algorithms tune for that specifically, that specific vertical. We do the same thing for healthcare verticals, B2B, B2C, apparel as well, big box. So our algorithms really are not a one size fits all. They're tuned for the vertical. And then even deeper than that, we tune them specifically for your business. So if you think of something like a high-end furniture company where they're selling $2,000 or $3,000 couches online, conversion rate may not be the most important KPI for them. It may be something like average order value. Those are things that we can tune our algorithms to improve upon. So even though there is a broad field of traditional site search engines and modern site search engines, we think we have something very unique when it comes to optimizing the site, and we actually guarantee conversion. We have a conversion guarantee that we work with our clients to ensure that whatever that guaranteed conversion rate needs to be, we can guarantee that we can hit it because we're confident in our underlying artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities.
That's interesting, by the way, because I have not seen that with the competition conversion guarantee. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, thanks for sharing that with us. And I think we should definitely do a deeper dive on the unboxed capabilities in the construct of this solution, right? So I think we should do a follow-up webinar at some point where we can dive into that as well, and then we basically use the same environment that Danny just showed, so people can really see the power of your product.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you again.
Yeah, no, absolutely, no problem. I got a. So we've been talking about pain points in the commerce space, right? And I would like to go to the depth guys because they talk to end users quite often and helping them to transform in this highly competitive space. Danny, what pain points do you typically see with people that are in this this space, and how do you see the solution that we just presented address those pain points?
So I think the biggest things that people will see from using solutions like this one are the ability to adapt. Okay, the ability to alter and move their business in the directions that their trends and analytics are telling them to go. So from a business perspective, you know, you can be more agile and work with your customers from that perspective, and bring in things like Unbox into the mix. You know, CommerceTools, bringing those insights and capabilities to search and actually surface relevant results based on those insights is going to be a much easier thing to do with solutions that are designed in this way and powered by headless capabilities and technology like dotCMS and CommerceTools. From a technical perspective, a lot of the challenges that medium and enterprise-sized businesses we see suffer from a lot is that development overhead. So development always seems to be, or technical teams always seem to be a really large cost center because they can't move as quickly. And mostly because of large systems that have been embedded in for years and years, and there's a lot of dependencies on them and how they move, and you get kind of stuck. Now, this different approach, this solution, means that a lot of the lightweight framework that exists supplies the interactions you need with the providers that you want to use. It's very plug and play almost, you know, the way it works. And you can focus on just designing pieces and building pieces to support those trends as they change. So as a developer, or on the technical team, or as an architect, whatever you are, you're really just addressing that minor case. And you can move faster with the business. So IT becomes a much more relevant space for businesses to work together rather than, you know, thinking, oh my God, I've got to do this new feature and it's going to be 6 months before I can get it implemented. And those are the kind of things that we try to address with solutions like this. And if you think about the velocity at which you can develop with things like dotCMS and its APIs, and certainly CommerceTools as well, both of which are very fast to build with. So you're increasing productivity across the board while giving people good experiences both from the end user and actually from the editorial space as well. So I think those are the things we're trying to address, and that's only going to get better the more the solution gets enhanced.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Danny. I think you nailed it there. I think the flexibility from a technology perspective, but also time to implement and time to value, much shorter. A no-code CMS obviously drives digital marketing agility. That definitely makes sense. But I want to go back to Kurt. So how about the ramp up for Unboxed in general? I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. We again find that to be a differentiator here at Unboxed. Looking at the competitors and the time to go live with some of these more complex site solutions, whether you're building it open source yourself. We saw a project at one of the biggest retailers in the country take 18 months to stand up an open source site solution. Even some of the modern providers out there, the modern vendors that support modern site search, can take anywhere from 9 to 12 months to stand up. We actually get it done in about 6 to 8 weeks, and we have a unique way that we stand these integrations up. It definitely falls in line with the headless story, where we use APIs, but we have a unique approach to how we stand up these systems, and we actually guarantee our integrations in a 6 to 8 week time frame as well, which again is unique in the industry. I haven't seen it, and I've only been at Unboxed for about 9 months now, but I haven't seen it in my career any company that guarantees integration time frame. So it is definitely something that is unique in the space. I think it is a unique approach, and they've had a lot of success with it as well.
No, that's great stuff, because if I look at it pure from a CMS perspective, and again, depends obviously on the complexity of the implementation and the integration points, right? 6 to 8 weeks can definitely get you pretty far, right? So that would align pretty quickly. So that's a huge differentiator for sure. Now, Harvey, is there anything you would like to add to this point, the pain points that we want to address here?
I think we're all in this sort of same space, really. I think the challenges we constantly see with our clients is about pace, and that's not only sort of implementation of putting systems in, and Obviously, we've seen experiences with clients with more traditional platforms where they're taking, a year or more to get platforms in. But it's also as sort of Danny was highlighting, the pace and ability to adapt to change. So where the internal teams or the partners aren't having to introduce great big long sort of development and rollout cycles to get new features out or to get new experiences out to new channels for customers. I think that's absolutely the primary driver. And I think this solution, in terms of this combined solution, CommerceTools, dotCMS, and Unbox, in terms of ability to roll out, adapt to change, and to integrate with some of those other platforms you highlighted in the sort of Gartner diagram, I think that's the absolute key here. And that's addressing the primary challenges that customers have, which is getting experiences evolved and changed rapidly to their customers, and in this context of being able to and needing to deliver sort of very personalized experiences to increasingly demanding customers.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And you hit on company adoption, right? I mean, I think that's equally important. I mean, it's not just the implementation. It's obviously teams, people that have to work with the product. So company-wide adoption and an internal ramp up for marketers and merchandisers is equally important. Now, from a CMS perspective, yeah, we offer online training. It's free, accessible for everybody. And if you have a tutor-led training, it's 2 hours and you're good to go. For CommerceTools, it's, I think, identical. Kurt, how does that work for the tools that you guys offer for merchandising?
Yeah, it's similar to that. We do have an onboarding team, customer success team that does go through extensive training on how to utilize the tool. It's usually remote. We do it remotely. It doesn't seem to be too complex. The tool is very intuitive. We have online videos as well. We usually see 1 to 2 days of training for our administrative console, and then the end users are off and running.
Right. Oh, that's exciting. Now, if we're talking about which customer would be the ideal customer for this overall solution, right? And I can definitely answer that from a CMS perspective when you're talking about licensing and implementation fees. What's your take on that, Harvey or Danny, from an agency perspective? Where do you see this fit in the retail segment?
I think definitely sort of mid-market to enterprise. I think one of the things that we're finding increasingly surprising is some of it's the level to which sort of enterprise clients who've sort of sat and worked with sort of traditional platforms are now sort of open to the idea of moving towards these sort of headless abstracted solutions, because they've been in those sort of long development and sort of upgrade cycles, and they just, again, it's addressing this challenge around pace. So I think definitely mid to enterprise, but I think the bulk of our clients are starting to think about this type of implementation, this type of space for their solutions.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more from a CMS perspective. I agree that that's what I see in our customer base, mid-market to enterprise. A couple of sections here and there. Harvey, do you have any comment on that? Anything you'd like to add?
Nothing to add to my sort of previous comments, to be honest, Stefan.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just looking at the questions. I think we have no more questions from the audience. Any final thoughts before we wrap up, guys? Kurt, can I start with you? Anything you'd like to state as a final statement?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again for the dotCMS team for letting us be a part of your webinar, and we look forward to further, further partnership, further working together. And certainly, if anybody that participated would like more questions about Unbox, happily ready to answer those and address those directly. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Kurt. Harvey?
Yeah, I guess just to say, I think we're excited about the work we're doing with dotCMS, CommerceTools, and with Unbox. We're really confident that this sort of new abstracted headless approach is right within the marketplace, and given our client challenges and the customer demands, and we'd be happy to speak to people in the space to sort of work out how we can support and help them, with the solution and from our perspective as an agency.
Great, thanks, Danny. Final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, for anyone on, really just watch this space. This solution's been tuned and honed over 10 years of experience, and it's always exciting working with you guys as well at dotCMS. The pace at which we're able to create these things, and I think one of our ultimate goals, Stefan, is to get this out to multiple technology stacks. Right, Edit Mode Anywhere was a massive step in that direction. SPAs, you guys have done a great job on the reference implementation, and we want to bring standard Java, .NET framework, and core implementations to the mix as well. And this is the first phase of that. So watch the space for further webinars and tech deep dives and stuff, and new features we're going to launch together. It's going to be a really exciting time for these three platforms all working together in a single driven solution. It's going to be really good.
Absolutely, thank you, Danny. No, I appreciate the partnership as well, and I definitely look forward to continue this this route, because I think what I really see in the market is a need for agility, a need for flexibility, not being stuck in monolithic solution, and also the focus on time to value, right? So conversion and guaranteed conversion, I think, is definitely an area where we can differentiate, as a solution to our market. So I'm super excited. I would like to thank everybody on the panel. Thanks for joining me, guys. Audience, thanks a lot for joining, and look forward to talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Thanks very much.
Thanks all. Have a good day.